Welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Richard Torres has advanced to 12-0, stopping Isaac Munoz, and this was in the third round of their fight on the Navarrete Valdez undercard in Arizona. So this was a very impressive performance for a number of reasons. Some of you may have seen Jermaine Franklin versus Isaac Munoz, and that was a very good performance by Jermaine Franklin. He basically just threw the kitchen sink at Munoz and could barely put a dent in him. Landed everything under the sun, basically every shot in his arsenal. Could not get the job done, could not stop him. But the real difference between those two fights, because Munoz was similarly out of shape for that one, was Richard Torres' speed and accuracy, because Isaac Munoz did not know where the punches were coming from. Richard Torres gave up a little bit of the power punching game that he possesses to effectively pepper Munoz with shots, and he was lining him up with the jab, stepping around, body and head, and it was just a whirring sort of mess of punches coming in at Munoz, and you could see that this was catching up with him. And by the time of the third round, it was almost like Richard Torres was sort of gradually ratcheting up every round, and Munoz, his mouth was open, he was looking tired, and I did think the stoppage was a little bit premature because there wasn't anything massive that had come in. But when it was stopped, the referee jumped in after a whole series of punches. Nothing, devastating, but Munoz was basically eating everything like Tic Tacs for fun. And the referee had seen enough, he jumped in. And this is his face after the stoppage, and he was nodding his head, and he looked relieved that it was over. So Richard Torres, a pretty impressive performance, because I thought this was decent matchmaking, because Isaac Munoz had shown in the Jermaine Franklin fight that he could take a punch, that he was durable, and that he could give some good rounds. But Richard Torres in control in this one and stepped it up through the rounds, and his speed and footwork, very impressive. It was a good display. His fourth fight of the year. I'm glad that they were able to get him some more activity before the end of 2024, because he's 12 fights deep, but he needs to be at the stage of his career fighting 4 or 5 times a year, because it'll slow down in the next year or two. So they managed to get him the fourth fight for this year. So another camp, more experience, different sort of opponent, different look. He's getting a mix of styles and different sorts of fighters, heights and lengths in terms of reaches, that sort of stuff, and seeing different looks. So I like the way that they're matching him, but 2025, they're going to have to just gradually sort of step it up. He is ranked on BoxRec now as the number 24th fighter in the world, number 4 American heavyweight, 12-0. The next year is the sort of that, step it up to sort of start facing some of those fringe contenders. And actually, Tim Bradley on the broadcast after the fight said, well, Isaac Munoz was beaten by Jermaine Franklin. Should Richard Torres and Jermaine Franklin fight next? I don't know if that would happen next, but I do actually think that is a potential matchup and a likely matchup which would be quite entertaining. You've got one guy in Franklin who's been trying to get better. It sort of seems to be he's approaching his ceiling. And another guy in Torres where it's a little bit of a question mark. There are some things with Torres and his defense that still need to be improved. But at 25 years old, he's still got a bit of time on his side. And sometimes he doesn't really move that head as much as he could. And when he comes in aggressively sometimes, it looks like he could be there for the taking. But the last couple of fights, he has been displaying the speed and the footwork and some of the improvements. He's really trying to break guys down and not just trying to just take them out. He's setting them up to take them out. And that's showing, some good ring IQ by the way that he's going about beating some of these opponents. And this latest one, Isaac Munoz, a good example of that. So, yes, please to more of Richard Torres in 2025. Clearly, if they're going to have one or two more sort of, not below fringe contender, but very durable guys that he needs to get some rounds against. He does need some more seasoning and guys that are going to throw back and test him, because have we seen him really tested to the chin yet? Probably not. I mean, he was starched pretty badly in the amateurs by Bakir Jalilov, so we kind of need to see him, I think, in 2025 chin-checked against someone who can, fire back, who's going to have some success, who's going to give some adversity to Richard Torres to sort of work through. But I like what I'm seeing, and I think he is improving. He is trying to minimize some of the holes in his game, and that's always good to see because, he's certainly got, the speed and all the skills, and he's got a whole bunch of talent, and he's starting to pull it together. 12-0 heading out of 2024. Isaac Munoz taken out in the third round. Richard Torres, there's a lot to like there. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.